Ozzstar's today's fun project. We're going to talk about wheel speed sensors. I'll show you in more detail how this works. I was working on an '08 Nissan Rogue and this thing was rusted, frozen inside the spindle. Well, in order to replace the wheel bearing hubs, you need to remove this first. This is out of a Toyota 4Runner, but they're all pretty much set up the same. Anyhow, this thing was rusted in place and I had to remove the hub because the bearing was bad. At about 30 miles per hour, it started to groan and make noise. So this thing was stuck. I had to break it basically to get the hub out, and I'll show you how this is installed, how it's replaced, and we'll discuss it in more detail in the video. Stay tuned. I got this '02 Shadow Sabre Honda V-twin 1100cc. I'm going to remove the carburetor on it, clean it. It's been cutting out at high RPMs because the fuel is gummed up in there. There's varnish. But it applies to a lot of the Japanese bikes from the 80s, 90s, 2000s. The carburetors are all pretty much the same setup. So anyway, stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe down below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, I printed this off the internet, this diagram here, so you can get a general idea of how this works. This is the ABS wheel speed sensor, which stands for anti-lock brake sensor. It's a Hall effect sensor, and it receives a signal from the control module, which is positive, and then you have a ground and negative. And then there's also, in our case, we have a pulse wheel. Well, this pulse wheel is mounted at the back of the hub. So these little nubs here spin when the wheel's moving, and there's a small air gap here, and this electromagnetic force changes the voltage which the computer is reading. So that's how that works. There's passive sensors and there's also active wheel speed sensors. You can look that up online and get more information. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what's going on here. This could also be a tone ring. The tone ring could be around an axle shaft, or it could be mounted to the bearing hub and spinning. Either way, it works the same kind of style here. And I hope that explains a little bit more about what we're looking at. The wheel, this is the left front. The wheel sensor is located right here. There's a 10mm mounting bolt that goes right in here. The sensor actually fits in the larger hole here to the left, this one. So basically, the old sensor was frozen inside this hole right here. When I took out the wheel bearing, I couldn't remove it, so what I did was popped out the bearing. Of course, the sensor here, we got here's what the sensor looks like up close. There's a hole here. This is for a 10mm bolt that goes into this hole here. Sensor fits in there. I'll put a little dielectric grease on here silicone before I install this, but this simple enough here, just goes right into there like that. That part will go in there. The bolt, 10mm bolt, will go there. Then this line, or this wire here, this harness, has a couple of bushings. So here's one bushing that just pops out. Let me show you here. Zoom in. These just pull out like that. There's a clip there. This is on the knuckle at the base of the strut. Then there's another one back here, right in there. Pull that one out. I'll show you that. See where that fits. Right in there. Then there's another one up here. We'll pull this one out. Simple enough. That one's out. And I've already disconnected it from the harness that's up in here. So what you do is, sorry for the shaky camera, there's 3 fasteners here. Just pop these pins out, these little pins here, with a screwdriver. They sit in there like that, and then the whole plug will come out. And there's 1, 2, and 3. This fits up in here like that. So I remove those. 4. Remove those. That gets you up here to your connector. And this is where the sensor connector is here. What you do is, there's a little tab right back here, right in there. So you put some pressure down on that with a little screwdriver. This fits in here. Pop that out. Release your grommets, which I already did. and then the whole unit's out, and I'll go ahead and put the new one in. The symptoms were basically when I test drove it with the sensor out, the ABS light was on, traction control light was on, VDC light I think it was called, ABS light, everything but the check engine light basically was lit up on the dashboard. Alright, new sensor's in. It's torqued down. I got a little bit of dielectric grease on here. Use this stuff here. You don't have to use that brand, but basically it's silicone grease. So I put a little bit on the bushings, on the grommet here and back here, and the other one up there, because it was a little tight getting in, so this helped slip it in. The thing with the silicone grease is it won't corrode or it won't rot the rubber. It won't break it down. It's not petroleum distillate. So that's all connected now. This is in now, plugged in. There's that little tab I showed you. You just push that in to release that. I'll put the pins back in, the plastic pins, and put the wheel on. Take it for a test drive. Let me show you guys the where the sensor fits in the bearing. Let me show you that part. Alright, so this bearing was bad. This is the old hub. And this, let's pretend this is it's the same for the right front and left front. They're the same setup. So let me show you where all this fits into the knuckle from here back. There's 4 bolts back here. This bearing was really shot. And anyhow, that hole that we just looked at lines up with this groove here. So the sensor, of course this is the broken one, actually rides right in here, just like this. So it's down in here picking up the signal, and what happens is if you try to pull this without removing the sensor and you go to remove the bearing hub, which would go that way, this is going to break off. So you'll snap that because this ring here get caught right in here and snap, because that's about 3/8 of an inch deep. Alright, I wanted to show that earlier, I didn't get it on film, but the all-wheel drive light was on, the AWD, I guess it's like a slip, anti-slip, the car with the little slip signs, the VDC light was on, and let me turn the key. I'm getting ready to start it. Now the service engine soon, the check engine light was not on, but the AWD and a couple other things, I think this tire pressure sensor, I may have to check the tire pressure. Let's start it and see if this goes off now. I have the new sensor and the wheels on. I'm going to test drive it. There we go, great. So you can see, I'll check the tire pressure. Maybe that may have to reset. When I go down the road, it may reset. I'll check. I'll let you guys know what happens. But all this stuff is out now, which is good. And here's the part number. Let's see, 2008 to 2013. I hope that's focusing. I'm going to read it to you in case it's not. It's 479101 DA1A. That's the part number. That's for the left front or the right front for the 08 to 13 Rogue. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and check out my other repair videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.